Being 5 members present, I will declare a quorum. Would we please take a moment of silent prayer? Oh, no, let's recite the Pledge of Allegiance. And a moment of silent prayer. I pledge
allegiance to the
the
flag
United States of
of America
and
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And then we'll take a moment of silent prayer to contribute to all those that have lost loved ones or people that are ill. Our prayers are extended to everyone. Thank you. Cindy, did anybody sign up for open forum?
We don't have anyone for open forum.
Okay, we'll move on to the next item, which is the general manager's report. Mr. Grijalva.
I'm first, huh? Here we go. I'm gonna try and share the screen with you guys, and then we'll go from there.
You have a scandal of how the Biden campaign and the news media collaborate.
Sorry, Ms. Vigil, did we skip consent agenda?
We did, Rosa. I'm sorry, I tell you, I'm so excited about everything. I'm sorry, let's go back. Items 5 through 11. Does anyone have any questions regarding these items?
I have no question.
I have no questions either.
If no one has any questions, I so move to approve the consent agenda. Do I have here a second?
I second it.
Seconded by Mr. Estrada. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Now
Is
we move
Henry-
on.
Is Henry Trujillo there?
Yeah, well, he was.
No, I don't believe he is.
We
I
lost
don't
him.
Okay.
see him on there anymore.
We lost him, Ryan.
No, I don't think he has ever joined. At least I haven't seen
Because
him.
if he didn't, then we need to correct the minutes, because I stated that there was 5 members present.
It was only 4, correct?
There was an M Trujillo, that wasn't him?
No, that's Marcos Trujillo. He has a presentation today.
Oh, okay. He's the guy we lost.
It's been noted. I'll note down in the minutes.
In fact, I just did a podcast we'll release tomorrow night, where we go through all the elements of
Okay.
the Biden family corruption.
Did I check with him? Maybe he's just having issues logging in.
Probably so.
And then I think if no one is speaking, we need to put it on mute because we can hear the background, someone's background. And it isn't my doggy because I'm at work. Is he on there?
No, and he hasn't called or anything.
Okay, we're gonna move on, and then if he calls in, I guess we'll let him in, okay?
Right, let's reach it out to him, yeah.
Okay, the regular agenda, general manager's report, Mr. Grijalva.
Okay, here we go. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Yes,
It's coming
we
through.
can see it.
All right. This is basically what we're going to talk about. I do have to apologize to the managers. I'm not including their reports because we've got a lot to talk about in the general manager's report. But the November meeting is probably 3 weeks away, so we'll do it then.
Sounds good.
All right. Quadrilla, finally, with help from our state legislature, we were able to get the county to recognize that we are the owners for Quadrilla and have the right to put electric power there. So it's been scheduled for within the next 2 weeks. And we'll have the plant up and running pretty much right soon after. Rosa Azul, this is what the yard light connections look like. We're almost done with phase 1, which is the south side of Socorro Road in Rosa Azul. Once we complete these connections, we're going to move to phase 2. We got a call from the NAB Bank this week, and they said they're going to put us on the agenda for their next meeting, that we have been approved pending the board approval. So that's going to be interesting because we've already started the airlines thinking they weren't going to give us any money at all. And now it looks like they're going to give us something. I don't know. We'll work it out with them. It could be about $500,000 worth of a grant. Mesa del Norte, the irrigation season is over with, so we're about to begin that project as well. Judy Lane and Sudan Drive, we're done with Sudan Drive with the pipe. Now we're waiting on some parts to be able to finish all of the residential service connections. Can you guys see those charts? Yeah, they're changing.
Yes, they're changing. We can see them.
All right. So we hope to be done with the Judy Lane piece within 2 weeks.
I got it. I'm on.
Okay, thank you.
I got it.
Bye, Mr. Cyril.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Now, after we do Judy Lane and Sudan Drive, we're going to move over to Pioneer in Clint. That might entail some dewatering. We'll see. Not much. And then from there, we go to F.E. Jackson, which is a self-help sewer connection for a small cul-de-sac. And then Thompson Road is the area behind our lift station up there at De La Rosa and Thompson. And there's about 15, 16 residents there with first-time water connections. Financially, this is last year's cash flow report. On the one side, you have the cash receipts. On the other side, you have the cash disbursements, and I'll give you a summary of what it looks like in the next slide. We started with $174,000 and ended with $765,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's it for the general manager's reports. Now we have 3 consultants that are going to give you the assessments of what they're doing on their projects. One of them is the 36-inch water main assessment. The other one is our manhole assessment, and the third one is our water modeling from Nuevo Tanks Road to Horizon off of North Loop and to the freeway. So I think, Ed, you need to take over and tell us who's going to speak first.
That would be agenda item number 13. I don't, Ms. Vigil, do you need to present that?
Oh, you don't want it as part of the general manager's report?
No, it's actually, there's 3 different agenda items.
Oh, okay, so let's just go on with the regular agenda then. Sorry.
Okay. Item 13, presentation by FXSA regarding manhole condition assessment program and survey. I guess that's you, Mr. Etla.
Thank you, board members. We had tasked Frank Spencer and Associates back in August of this year to do a manhole assessment. It's evaluating all 4,500 manholes that we have in the district. And I asked them to put a presentation of kind of where they're at right now. And I'm looking to see.
Marco was there, yeah.
Is Marcos also on this online?
Marco?
He's a guy that dropped off for some reason.
No, he's in the meeting.
Is he?
Marco?
Is Marcos ready to do the presentation?
Not hearing him.
No?
Marco, we can't hear you.
Hello?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Hello?
We got you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Oh, okay. I was wearing my headset and for some reason it stopped working. So it looks like I fixed it.
You can share your screen, Marco.
Okay, let me do that. Can you all see my screen?
Nope.
No, not yet.
Give me 1 second. Let me try one more time.
Hey, Ryan, are you allowing him to do it? Yeah.
Yes.
It showed as if it was, oh, I didn't click share.
Oh, you gotta turn your camera on, right? No?
There you go. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I apologize for that. Okay, so let me get started then. I just have to minimize something quickly. Okay. So again, the purpose of this presentation is to give you all an update on the manhole condition assessment project for the Lower Valley Water District. I will go over the following items, a quickly reminder on the project background, the project process, briefly describe, the way it works. I will give you an update also on the progress, where we are so far, and also make, a few highlights, good and bad things that we have found. And at the end, I'll try to show you what I believe, is the percentage projected percentage for repairs based on what we've seen so far. Quickly, first, let's remember that the purpose of this project is to complete manhole condition assessment and surveying services. In other words, for the Lower Valley to know exactly what the condition of each manhole is at the end of the project. There are two components. We have the field work and also some office work. This means manholes are being identified first, opened and scanned, as you can see in the video. And then all data is being processed in the office. All defects are being identified, measures are being taken, scores are given to each manhole. In other words, there's a complex step, a process step in the office to manipulate the data, to develop, the scores. You spend a lot of time compared to what you spend in the field, in the office, looking at videos, images. It's really cool to do all that. I mean, I can speak for days, about the things that we do in the office. But at the end of the day, the process is divided in two: field work and office work. If at any time, someone is interested on learning, how the process has been done in the office, I'll be happy to do that too. Show you more details. So the progress as of last week, our field crew have completed close to 20% of the entire system. Those are basically the green dots that you see on the screen now. What you see in blue, that means it's ready to be inspected. Our crew went ahead and checked, those manholes before, just to make sure that they were able to open them. They were able to locate those. Some of the dots that you see on red, that means that we need your assistance to uncover those, expose those, locate those, maybe open them. And then the rest of the system, is marked in yellow as pending. So basically, again, there's about 20% that we have scanned, completed inspections. Moving on to some of the project highlights, I would like to briefly highlight some of the environmental factors that often are forgotten, but they also play a crucial role in terms of failures in the system. Soils and groundwater, for example, and according to the NRCS and USDA, those have a direct impact on possible failures in the system. I mean, groundwater level changes, the earth moves a little bit. If you start having cracks, those are going to expand over time, and then you're going to start having or experiencing failures. Also, there's some chemical elements like pH, organic concentration. Those are also causes for corrosion and other issues, within the system. Sometimes you have roots coming in and things like that. One thing that I would like to discuss also that, we all know what it is, flash flooding. We have experienced that, over time here in El Paso, and recently has been causing, major issues. But sometimes we forget, that the buried infrastructure is also being affected by this. The way this works is that you have a massive excess of water, and that will make its way into the system via, existing cracks, existing fractures, and then, that amount of water is gonna try to push in, and it will expand. Again, the cracks, the fractures will eventually get bigger, and you will have a system that would be severely damaged. This is something that we need to keep an eye on. Every time there's a flash flooding or an excess of water, rainwater, storm event, those things may be having a huge impact on our structure. Some of the, continue with the project highlights. First, I would like to show you what a manhole looks like in good condition before looking into some of the main defects that we have found. Again, this is an example. You're looking at a typical concrete structure. Going back to the office work, this is an image from the software that you can manipulate. That means you can take measurements of, you can pan around, you can zoom in and out, you can unfold it. You can do a lot of things with it in order to do a complete assessment. This is by a manhole that is by the Sparks subdivision, one of the first that we completed. So what you're looking at in terms of good condition, you're looking at a smooth surface, light gray color, no watermarks, because those watermarks may be an indication of infiltration. There's also on the walls, on the sides, you see there's no corrosion indication or wall loss. So again, you're looking at a typical concrete structure. This is another example quickly. I wanted to show you this because you have manholes that are a combination of two materials, concrete and brick. You may think that the brick is going to fail first, the mortar is going to give in first, and then the concrete. And these manholes are holding on pretty well. I haven't seen any bricks missing, mortar missing, things like that. So this is another example that you would probably expect, that the bricks are failing or something in the upper section in the chimney. But no, they're holding up pretty well. They're not as deep. They're very shallow. So that's an indication that those manholes are statistically will be in good shape. The picture on the right, both pictures on the right, one is looking up and one is looking at the bottom of the manhole. Now, moving on to some of the defects. If we compare this image on the right with the previous image, the main difference are, as you can see, a lot of defects. There's a clear distinction in the middle where concrete starts missing, or what I call it crumbling down. You can see a clear distinction there. You see the aggregate. You no longer see a gray colored surface, smooth. You see the opposite. You see a different color. You see a rough surface. You basically see the aggregate the material instead of a smooth surface. You can also see a horizontal fracture closer to the bottom section that it may be already a hole. So there's a lot of wall missing. This is a deep manhole. That means that there's a lot of gases, attacking that manhole. If you compare to the other images, that is a main distinction also. This manhole is again much deeper, so you have those gases accumulated in bigger quantities. This is another example of mixed defects that we have found so far. In the upper section closer to the cone, you see a belt that remains, smooth. Everything else is gone. That means all that wall, imagine it fell down to the bottom. In the pictures on the right bottom, you can see I have some notes there you can read through. Some say, there's soil settled. That means that's aggregate, that's soil, those are the rocks and the sand from the concrete that already fell at the bottom of the invert of the manhole. And that could potentially clog the manholes. You will experience less flowing into the next manhole. You can have, backflow problems. And this is a big issue. The picture on the right top corner also shows a void, visible soil, some roots coming in, some water coming in. This is a manhole that, I mean, it's unfortunate to see that it could collapse, you know. So this is something that needs to be addressed, you know, fairly quickly. You know, everything, do not panic. I mean, everything has been informed, you know, to Lower Valley. You guys are moving in the right direction, taking measurements, you know, to attack these issues. But, you know, it's unfortunate that you know, in some cases, the issues are already in a stage that, you know, it could potentially cause major problems if it's not addressed, you know, quickly. Again, this is another example of a manhole that has a bunch of different defects, not only one. Another example that we found so far, this is a manhole that is sitting in an arroyo. This is what is called a contamination of a potential source of drinking water. This is a big issue sometimes to agencies like TCEQ. They don't like seeing this. That means that you have a potential contamination to a potential source of drinking water. My notes here are, you know, that this manhole already failed, is leaking into the arroyo. I was informed that there was some repairs already addressed. So Lower Valley took action on this one. That is great. You may want to consider, though, relocating this manhole. It's not in a good position. It's not good for us to, or for you to have it there. You know, it's above the ground, about 14 feet. So inspection, it makes it difficult to also to inspect it. And at the same time, you still have the potential to leak in what is called a potential source of water, of drinking water, which is a big no-no sometimes, again, for agencies like TCEQ. I just wanted to bring that up again, but I know that Lower Valley has taken action on this one. And before I finalize this presentation, I would like to highlight one of the most common problems. I was already expecting this. We've seen this, you know, all over the country. This is not only here in El Paso. Statistically, you know, manholes that are near the station, they tend to degrade a lot faster. And the main reasons are the depth and the higher concentration of corrosive gases. This is a manhole that is sitting at the lift station property. You can already see my notes there. You can read through. There's some holes, some fractures closer to the chimney and the cone. Actually, the whole cone is cracked or fractured vertically. There's a lot of material missing. The side wall on the left, you can see, you know, it's not smooth. It's not a smooth vertical line. You see all that aggregate is gone. It has been eaten away. You're talking about replacing this manhole. So again, this is another example that I wanted to show from what I was expecting to see closer to the lift stations. And then if you think about you have 16 lift stations, you're probably thinking about seeing this problem, the severe corrosion on maybe 5, maybe even up to 10 manholes closer to the lift station. So you're talking about maybe 160 manholes that we know statistically, and we've seen a few already that will be in very bad shape. It is unfortunate, but that is what happens because they're deeper, they have more concentration of gases being accumulated. So those are the main reasons. Also, the manholes that are closer to the treatment plant, you will likely to see these issues. So again, those were quickly, you know, some of the highlights that we have seen. Environmental issues to some of the a combination of defects and maybe some of the more severe ones closer to the lift stations. To end my presentation, I would like to just mention that we anticipate a high percentage of manholes in the system that may need to be repaired. Now, what does the high percentage mean? This is not your typical 85 to 95%. Imagine that. That means that you have to redo the entire system in the whole district. No, this means in terms of rehabilitation and replacement. In this case, you're looking at what is called the off-ramp, anywhere from 15 to 20, maybe 25% of the total number of manholes that they may need to be replaced instead of rehabilitated. That's what the high percentage means. I don't want to confuse, anybody. I just wanted to use the terms, that I used out there. A high percentage, again, it's between 15 to 25 of the entire system. That means if you're doing rehabilitation of 25%, for example, of manholes in the system, you're throwing money away. From then on, you're looking at replacing only instead of rehabilitating. At that point, in other words, the rehabilitation option becomes null, becomes invalid, and you got to think about replacing. Again, these are numbers based on what we've seen so far. The high percentage is there. That may increase as we move forward. That may go up. I anticipate to stay about the same. This is something that we were expecting already. I think everybody. And if you put numbers together, you're looking at maybe having to do some repairs on anywhere from 600, 800, maybe even up to 1,000 manholes. But final numbers, obviously, we'll know them with exact accuracy towards the end of the project. Any questions, anyone, about the presentation?
No, none here. Thank you. Does any other director have any questions?
No questions.
Hey, Marcos, this is Rod Chavez. Just had a quick question.
Sure.
You've completed 20% of the project. Are you on schedule to complete it?
Yes, we are ahead of schedule. Actually, I forgot to mention that. This project is supposed to last, the field work is supposed to last for about maybe 16 to, it was very conservative. We didn't know what we were going to find in terms of, manhole access, condition. In other words, there's usually a high percentage of manholes being covered. I have to mention also that those are being distributed to Lower Valley. Those are being reviewed by the field crews. Michael, I know that he's working on those. Mr. Ruben Orozco. So they know about those manholes that we have issues with accessing. So we knew that percentage was going to be there. That's why this is a little conservative at the beginning, but we are ahead of schedule, yes.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
I have a question, Mr. Beal, if I may. Marcos, so your part of it, your scope is just to do the assessment. Am I correct? The assessment.
Yes,
of the manhole?
do that exactly. Yeah, just to give you the condition of each manhole. That's the main task, and the other one is also to provide the GIS or the GPS coordinates, so you have a tighter system.
Okay.
The new subdivision information that was not there.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
Okay, thank you. If no one has any further questions, we'll move on to item, I guess it's 14, is that correct? 15. Item 15, correct?
No, item 14.
Okay, presentation by PSC regarding transmission pipeline valuation, I'm sorry.
Board members, on this one, we had tasked Park Hill, Smith and Cooper back in July of this year to do an evaluation of our transmission line that goes from Jonathan Rogers up to the Mitchell tanks. This provides water service to about 85% of our district. This is, to me, it's major infrastructure. Park Hill actually did the design of this line close to about 25 years ago. So they were a good fit for them to go back and do the evaluation of this system. I have Mark Sanchez who's going to do the presentation of where they're at and also a schedule on the evaluation itself. Are you ready there, Mark?
Yes, sir. I'm ready. I guess I could try to share my screen.
Okay. Are you done, Mr. Long?
Yes, Marcus, he's going to bring up the presentation for the,
Okay.
Can everybody see the slide presentation?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
There you go. Got it.
Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay, great. So my name is Mark Sanchez. I'm the project manager for this project. Lower Valley Water District Transmission Pipeline Evaluation. We're going to talk a little bit about where we're at, our progress, and some of the things we've completed and found, and then we're going to give you an updated schedule. But first, a little bit of background. We'll go to the next slide. Let's see. So hopefully everybody can see that. So what you see in front of you is the 36-inch transmission pipeline route. Like Ed was saying, it provides a big part of the water service for the district. It begins here at the Jonathan Rogers Water Treatment Plant and then proceeds easterly, crossing the American Canal, Franklin Drain, proceeds east, going through some farmer fields. There's a school right in this area right here. This is Bovey Road. Crosses Alameda Avenue. Then it parallels Middle Drain Road, and continues down to Bowman Road, and then up Bowman Road, right in front of Robert Rojas Elementary. Continues easterly, gets on the Mesa Drain, goes through some more farmers fields, goes up here in the escarpment up towards the interstate, and then right here at I-10 it crosses the interstate. There's a big casing right there that it crosses the interstate with, and then to your Mitchell Reservoir is right in this area. About 8 miles. It's a 36-inch steel pipeline, taper wrapped, has a mortar lining on the inside. All these little blue circles are your isolation valves. There's about 20 of them. They're called butterfly valves, and they're along the entire route. Since this pipe is a steel pipeline, it's protected with a impressed current system. And basically that's a system that protects that pipe from corrosion. As part of that, there's 53 what they call cathodic protection test stations. And they're roughly spread out about every 1,000 feet along the entire route. Those are really important because those allow you to test how effective your corrosion protection is. And they're an important part of the pipeline. Pipeline's about 22 years old. It was actually installed in 1998. Our scope of work specifically is 4 main points. Number 1 is to conduct a corrosion survey of the entire pipeline and identify areas of possible leaks. In 2019, you can see my pointer right here, just below the interstate, there was a leak near this valve, and the district fixed it. They had to close some of these valves. In fact, one of these valves wasn't operable, and they had to go further downstream to isolate the pipeline. When they did, we had some low pressures over here near the elementary school. So we got some issues with the valves. We did have a leak up here. And so what we want to do is do a thorough corrosion survey of that entire pipeline to figure out exactly where we might have other locations where we might have the same issue. So that's number 1, conduct a corrosion survey of the entire pipeline. Number 2 is to inspect the pipeline and determine the best way to exercise these isolation valves and repair any of them that we have determined to be inoperable. We know for a fact that we got at least one here that's not able to be operated. So we're going to take a look at that and look at all these and try to figure out the best way to do it in such a manner that we don't have to take the pipeline out of service or have a major disruption to service. That's the second thing. The third thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to conduct a hydraulic analysis. We're going to look at some different ways, basically to enable us to take segments of this pipeline down. For instance, if we have a bad leak that has to be repaired, here on Bowman Road or whatever, or if we got to repair one of these valves and take it out and replace it with a new one, how do we make sure that we're not going to have low pressure problems for the customers? And so we're going to be looking at some ways to try to do that, to provide some redundancy in your service. And the hydraulic modeling will give us the solutions for doing that. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few slides later. The fourth thing is once we go through this evaluation, is we're going to identify the improvements with a budget for construction on that, with the goal of basically coming up with a list of projects that can be prioritized and planned for keeping the pipeline in good operating condition. We'll go to the next slide. So the first task was to get out there and basically do an inspection of the entire 8 miles of pipeline. We went out there and we popped every manhole that we could find. Like I said, there's 20 isolation valves, but on top of that, there's about 30 other valves. They're called air relief valves, combination air relief valves, and blow-off valves. We try to locate all of those, pop the lids, look inside of them, take pictures, assess the condition, accessibility. A lot of the things that we need to do is find these cathodic protection test stations for the corrosion survey that we're going to be conducting. We located 27 of the 53. If you look here on the right side of the slide, this is a typical CP test station. It's basically a valve box with some conductors that are tied, wires. A couple of wires that connect to the pipe with a testing board. And like I said, there's 53 of these. We were able to locate 27. A lot of them have been covered up, dug up, damaged. We had to get a pipe locator out there to try to uncover and locate some of these, and we were able to find them, fortunately. And so these are real important, and as we need them for conducting the corrosion survey. As I mentioned before, we were able to find 39 of the 50 valve manholes. Water was found in 11 of them, and we suspect that water is groundwater. A lot of these manholes are fairly deep, and we suspect most of that is groundwater. We did find one where we might have some leakage from the line, but it's hard to tell. These two pictures here on the left-hand side of the slide show 2 butterfly valves. These are the isolation valves. This is pretty typical. Looking at this, you can see the inside of the concrete. The manholes themselves are in good condition. These are water lines, so you don't have nearly the conditions that you would in a sewer line. But if you note on the bottom here, this is groundwater. And what you don't see is that groundwater is covering the gearbox for the butterfly valve. So that might cause a problem with operating that valve. And we got a picture of that here in one of the other slides. But anyways, this was the first step. Like I said, we walked the entire pipeline route with an inspection team, and we tried to locate everything that we could and document all of that. We also discovered an area with exposed pipe. Look at the next slide here. This is near the interstate, just south of the interstate. We found about 100 feet of exposed pipe. This is not to be unexpected. I mean, with the flood control issues that the Lower Valley has, this is a direct example of that. I mean, with the storms that we have in that part of town and the development, there's a lot of erosion. And what's happened over the years is, this pipeline has the top, it should have about 7 to 8 feet of soil on the top of it. And as you can see, it's all gone. We got about 100 feet where basically the top 8 feet is basically eroded. Here on the right, you can see where the pipe goes into the embankment, and it's basically just sticking outside the embankment. Not the best situation for your pipe. If that embankment shifts, you could potentially stress that pipe and then have a major leak. So it's something that needs to be addressed. And we're going to be looking at some ways to try to mitigate this. The good news, the wrap is in good condition, which is surprising because it's been exposed like this. But there's the wrapping that they do on this pipe is basically there's a system of 3 wraps, so it's a very, very durable wrap. It protects the pipe from corrosion, so that looks good. But the key thing here is like we got to get that covered up. We're going to be looking at some options, including a concrete slab that we would put. We would put some fill on top of that, and then a concrete slab. And then the bigger issue really is the flooding. So we're going to try to look at that to try to mitigate that as best we can. There's bigger issues here with the overall flooding that entire area, but the main thing is we got to figure out a way to protect that pipe. And so we'll be looking at some options for that and providing some cost on how to attack that. Go to the next slide. As I was mentioning before, the pipeline is protected by what they call an impressed current system. And that current system basically requires what they rectifiers. There's 2 rectifiers on this pipeline. Basically, what these rectifiers do is it takes alternating current and it converts it to a DC current. And that current is applied to the pipe, which protects it from corrosion. Now, these were the original ones that were installed in 1998. During the inspection, we discovered that they haven't been working. They haven't been operable since 2018. We contacted a local corrosion company called Lone Star Incorporated. They have a little bit of history with the Lower Valley. They do a lot of work in the area. We went out there and met with the district and them, looked at them. They need to be replaced. They provided a quote to us, which we have provided to Lower Valley Water District. I cannot stress enough how important these are to get them working again. These are the backbone of that system, and we need to get them working as soon as we can to protect your pipeline. And on top of that, we need these to be working for the corrosion survey that we plan on doing. So let's go to the next slide. The other thing we're doing is we've contacted a couple of specialty contractors that they specialize in exercising valves and doing rehab on them. We met with one of them already and went out there and looked at a typical valve installation. This is one right actually next to North Loop and Bowman. They took a look at it. And one of the things on this particular one, we did operate it. We opened it three turns one way and 3 turns the other way just to see if it worked. So that one worked, and then we took the cover off the operator. And if you look on the right, this is the operator, and in here is the gears and the mechanism that allows that butterfly valve to open and close. The shaft that comes up here on the top. You see all that grease in there, which is good. The fact that all that grease in there protects the gears. And even if these things periodically fill up with groundwater, that grease is going to protect them. So with the amount of grease that we saw on this, even if there is some that are filled with groundwater, I'm hopeful that this is going to hopefully protect a lot of the inner workings of the butterfly valves. So we had 2 contractors looking at this. They're going to provide us some budget numbers. The nice thing about these particular valves is that if 95% of the problems that happen with them is the gearbox. And the nice thing about replacing those is you don't have to open or close the valve. The gearbox, from talking to these contractors, can actually be taken off and replaced with a new one. And 95% of the time, that's going to take care of your problem with the butterfly valve. So that's good. Initially, we were thinking that we were going to have to do some kind of a bypass in order to replace these. But if that's all we have to do, that becomes a lot more feasible and a lot less costly than having to do a bypass. Let's go to the next sheet. And then the thing I had talked about before is the hydraulic modeling. And on this slide here, if everybody can see, there's what I call the gateway line, which runs along the south side of the interstate. It's a 16-inch and 12-inch water line. And what we want to look at doing, and this is Ed Long's idea actually, that is one of the things that he really wants us to look at, is how can we connect to that 16-inch and 12-inch line and have it as a redundant backup to provide supply to that 36-inch in the event that, one, we got to take the reservoirs out of service, or two, we got to fill the reservoirs. If we come down here and have to do a significant amount of replacement, say for instance in Bowman Road, and we have to take that piece of pipeline down, this would allow us to keep that reservoir filled with this other pipeline. So that's one of the key things we're going to be looking at, is how do we make that work? The other thing we're going to be looking at doing is, if we do got to come down here and isolate big segments of pipeline, what do we need to do to make sure that we maintain service to the customers while those repairs are being done? That's paramount. We don't want to have customers without water service or adequate pressure. This line has to be taken down for service. So we're going to be doing some hydraulic modeling to look at that. And a lot of that really is, if we have to take a segment down here in Bowman, do we have enough looping piping through the distribution system to still maintain adequate pressures and flows to the customers on either side of that isolated pipe? So our hope is, we're actively working on the modeling right now, and that we will have something to present to the district mid-November on kind of what our results are and some recommendations, really some operational things that can be done, maybe some pipeline improvements in order to allow you to take segments of this pipeline down without adversely affecting service. Schedule. This is kind of our updated schedule. We're going to have the hydraulic analysis done in mid-November. The rectifiers has thrown us for a little bit of a loop. We had not anticipated the rectifiers not working. Our original schedule was originally based on having the complete evaluation done before Christmas by mid-December. But because of the rectifiers not working, we're having to get those fixed. And based on the lead times that it takes to get those rectifiers fixed and then some time for installation, we're not going to have those probably working until January. And so that kind of delays that over the pipe, what we call the corrosion survey. It's actually called the over the pipe survey. And so we wouldn't be able to do that until the rectifiers are working, which I'm anticipating we'll get that in January. That's assuming that the district approves their quote and that they issue a PO to the Lone Star and they can get those ordered. Once we do that survey, we'll compile the draft report with our recommendations, and then review that with the district, probably a presentation to you guys. And then we'll finalize that report with recommendations and projects, prioritized projects, with a plan to attack whatever we find out that we need to do by March of 2021 of next year. So that's the schedule. And that's a little bit about where we're at and the progress to date. And if anybody has any questions, I will try to answer them.
Thank you, Mark. I think I don't hear anyone asking any questions. I think we're good until the next update.
Yeah, I don't think there's any, unless the engineering committee has anything. No?
No, just, do you have a code in hand, Mr. Long?
I don't know. I don't have the numbers offhand, but I'll sit down with you all sometime next week and go over the one for the rectifiers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ms. Vigil, we've got one more. Did you want to continue or postpone that one till the 19th?
You've got one more what?
One more presentation.
Oh, it's up to you all. Which one is that one, Mr.
Water modeling.
This is we had tasked MCI to do water modeling of a portion of our district, and I wanted them to show their results. This is ties in with a new tank that they were looking at there in the New Waco Tanks area.
Okay, let me ask you something. On this MCI presentation, because it's listed on the agenda.
Yes.
If I've been asked if we want to move it to the other meeting, are you all saying that this can wait? Is it something that you want to start working on? Is it
No,
something
basically in the interest of time, your time, normally we don't take more than about 30 to 40 minutes of your time when we do presentations. Both of these took a little more than we expected.
I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me make a motion to move the order of the agenda, and depending on what time we're doing after item 21, then we can decide. Yes?
Oh, it's gonna be fast.
Ms. Vihil, if I may, I think pretty much these are just informational for us. So like Mr. Grijalva was saying, if if they're willing to come back next meeting, I mean, I think that's perfectly fine with myself. I'm not sure how the other board members feel.
And this is why I was saying, let's move the order of the agenda. When we get to after 21, we'll see where we're at, and then we can change it and table it for the next meeting, okay? So that is a form of a motion right now, unless you want to go ahead and table the item. Mr. Trujillo, how do you feel?
I would like to table it till the next meeting. I think,
Mr. Estrada?
I can go either way. We can do it now or next meeting.
Okay, Mr. Chavez?
I would go with Mr. Trujillo. We can wait till the next meeting.
Okay, and I agree with Mr. Estrada. It doesn't matter either way. Mr. Carrasco expressed his opinion, so we'll go ahead and table this item. I so move to table.
second.
It's been seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 16, discussion and possible action to approve amendment number 1 for additional RPR and CN services for Cuadrilla wastewater package plant project. Mr. Long?
This was, board members, I met with the engineering committee. We want to wait until they actually finish this project up. I know we've had some issues with the electric company and getting power out there. I'd like to maybe just close it out with a final amendment to CEA's contract. So I'd like to table this item at this time.
So what do we need, Mr. Long? Table it for what reason was it?
So right now we haven't finished the project, and basically we added time to the construction contract, but we didn't add time to the RPR, the construction management contract with CEA.
Right.
We have maybe, now that we've gotten the green light from the counties to let the electric company power up the plant, I'd like to get that up and running, work out all the issues, and then at that point come back with you and say, okay, this was all the time that CSA used, additional time that they used to start up this project. That way I'm only bringing up one amendment, not multiple amendments to you all.
Right. We discussed this at the engineering committee meeting.
Right, that's correct.
We agreed to a table it and to get it up and running and make sure everything is functional before we start talking.
That's correct.
Correct. I move that we table this motion.
Okay.
This item.
Okay, so we're saying we're going to table this item as well?
I'll second the motion.
Yes.
Okay, but I wasn't asking for a motion yet. I wanted clarification. Whereas you all met with the engineering committee, and so you're saying that even though you met with the engineering committee, we're still asking to table this item?
Right, well, the agenda had already been posted when I had met with the engineering committee to go over stuff. We were trying to remove it, and it was a little too late to remove the item.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and who made the motion to table the item?
Mr. Estrada.
Mr. Estrada.
And I guess Mr. Trujillo seconded, or was it Mr. Chavez?
It was Mr. Trujillo. Oh, Carrasco.
Carrasco.
Carrasco. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Item 17, consider and take action to approve extending emergency on-call construction services assigned to CMD, CSA, and Bain Construction during staff shortages caused by the pandemic. Ms. Rivera?
Yes, Ms. Vigil. At this time, the administration is also asking to table this item.
Oh my gosh. Guys, are you sure we want to have a meeting today? I'm just joking. I so move this item.
Yeah,
Do I hear a second?
second. I'll second it, Henry.
I think, okay, I thought it was Mr. Strata. Okay. Mr. Strata, you second that, didn't you?
Yes, I'll second that.
Okay.
So it was Mr. Strata. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 18, discussion and possible action to approve the purchase of a tanker truck for septic services. I think Mondo wants us to table this item too.
No. No, we need this truck. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Today, we are seeking the approval to purchase a wastewater septic truck. This truck will be used to transport septic water from a location all locations within the district of Lower Valley Water District boundaries, to include Cuadrilla and Mesa del Norte when it's fully operational. Currently, regulatory enforcement have a two-man crew using a vacuum truck with a capacity of 1,500 gallons, and it's taking them 4 trips for a total of 6,000 gallons daily to the pilot truck stop. This truck stop is right in front of the main office between, I guess, on FM 1110 and I-10 East, Gateway East, I'm sorry. They are taking 4 trips with a total of 6,000 in a daily basis to that truck stop. On top of that, they have 4 trips that they need to do every other day to the Cuadrilla plant, which is taking them around 15 hours a day. Every 2 days, and 10 trips for 2 days. This truck that we're looking to purchase holds up to 4,000 gallons in a single trip. And we need 1 person to operate this truck, which will cut the time and labor by half. This truck is a Peterbilt 348 model, has a Pike-Right septic tank with an extended warranty of 5 years, with a 5-year life. And our total cost of this truck is for $182,212.88. On October the 15th, we met with the fleet committee. We reviewed the need and the cost of the truck. At this time, does the board have any questions?
That's the best price you got from Peterbilt, Mondo? You were trying to go for 180.
We did try. The only good thing that came out of it is that we have a 5-year warranty as compared to a 1-year warranty. So this will keep the truck for 5 years running with no major issues that we need to repair. It's only maintenance on the truck.
Mondo, does this warranty cover the tank too, or that's a separate? Is there a separate warranty on the tank, or valves, or pump?
No, sir. No, this will be a 5-year warranty. 5-year warranty on the tank and the truck and the chassis. And the pump will have a 1-year warranty, extended warranty for any, internal parts in the pump.
Oh, good. Okay.
Hey, Mondo, this is Rod Chavez.
Yes,
Just
sir.
got a quick question on the Cuadrilla project. I think in the general manager's report, I thought that was going to come online real quickly and we didn't have to pump the sewer from there.
No, we have to pump the type 2 water from there now until we've tested it for a year. Once we've tested it for a year, the water improvement district is going to allow us to dump it in the tributary if it meets their standard.
Okay. Understand. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And then most definitely when this Mesa del Norte comes into place, and we know that we have to pump 40,000 gallons from there daily, so we might even end up having to buy another vehicle. So at least we have.
It looks like Mondo froze, but I do want to add that the pilot project is going to pay for it in its entirety.
Right.
So it's something you gotta have, right? You gotta have this truck, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. If there's any more question, at this time, the administration recommends that the board approves the purchase of this tanker vacuum truck for septic services in the Lower Valley Water District.
I make the motion to approve. David Carrasco.
And how much was this for?
It was $182,212.88.
It's just to add to Mr. Carrasco's motion, not to exceed that amount, correct, Mr. Carrasco?
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so
Yes, ma'am.
it's been a motion. I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Good.
Hey, is Steve Blanco on with us? Because he's been really quiet and we don't even know. Stevie, are you-
Oh, wow. I don't know. He was.
I know, I was gonna say, I didn't see Steve Blanco on there. Are we
Yeah.
going?
I'm
Okay,
here.
He's there.
I'm here.
oh, there you are, Steve. Discussion and possible action to move regular board meeting of November 26, 2020 to 2019. I guess we're doing this because of the Thanksgiving holiday.
Right.
Correct. Yeah, Thanksgiving, the fourth Thursday falls on the 26th, which is Thanksgiving, and we're closed the 26th and 27th. So we're requesting to move the November board meeting to Thursday, November 19th.
So if no one has any questions regarding
I'd like
that,
for you guys to consider amending the motion to include the December meeting if you could.
oh,
You want to include the December meeting in this?
Well, yeah, because unless you want to talk about it on the 19th, either way.
We
yes,
don't have it
'cause
on the agenda to move
we
the
don't have
December
it on the
meeting.
agenda, so we can't do this.
Okay, you
So
can't.
right now, I'm going to make a motion to move the regular board meeting of November 26th to November 19th.
19th. Yes.
And what's the December meeting? I guess December date. Did you want to add that in now?
No, we
No,
can't.
you
can't.
cannot, it's not in the
Okay.
motion. Okay,
Okay,
it's not in
second-
the
I second.
agenda. And so we'll have to, the next we have, we'll include that in there. Okay,
Yes.
already.
I
So
second.
there
I
was a
second.
motion and seconded by Mr. Carrasco. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 20, discussion and possible action regarding plans for 2020 Thanksgiving luncheon and employee recognition event. I thought the board had said we were going to cancel all events due to COVID-19 and and I thought we had already done this. Did you have something else in mind, Sabrina, or?
No, we didn't. We hadn't formally put it as an agenda item to cancel the events, so we
Okay.
wanted to include that.
I think,
in the board
I
meeting.
think all the directors will understand that with the way things are going on right now, it is not in the best interest of the district, the public, and their staff to really have any gatherings. I don't know if you all listened to the mayor speak today at 11 o'clock at his press conference, and I'm sure they're going to implement even more restrictions. I think everyone needs to understand right now. I know that people would want to get together and we would want to, and the board would love to provide a luncheon, but this isn't going to happen, not right now. And I think everyone needs to understand. And so with that in mind, if the rest of the board agrees, I so move that we cancel any luncheon that was scheduled for Thanksgiving. Now, keeping in mind that the departments may want to say they want to bring a potluck or whatever, you have to be very careful, extremely careful. You don't want anyone to get sick and say they got sick because of this or because someone wasn't wearing a mask because we were too close. I personally feel that everyone needs to understand that we have to be extremely careful during the Thanksgiving holiday for any events and for Christmas. So that was made in a form of a motion.
I'll second it, Rosie.
Mr. Trujillo, all those in favor, seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consider item 21, consider and take action to enter real estate contract for the possible purchase of Bill and Drain property.
Yes, ma'am, the deal fell through. They wanted more money, so we're not going to pursue it. I'd like to.
That was going to happen.
Yeah, you just don't need to take any action on the item, then we'll just pass over it.
Okay.
So no action needs to be taken, Steve?
No, no action.
Okay, it is 7:45 PM. The Board of Directors will retire in executive session pursuant to sections 551.071 through 551.076 Texas Government Code to discuss any of the following: 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, discussion regarding personnel matters. Now, I'm hoping we're not going to have an issue getting out and going into this. So
Okay, Ms.
hopefully.
Vigil, I wasn't planning on having executive session. Did you have something you wanted to cover?
Yeah, I think that the board needs to address a couple of items, and once we get there, I'll explain to you.
Okay, I'm gonna create the meeting real fast, and then you guys can jump on it.
Alrighty, thank you.
Leave the meeting. Okay, I gotta leave the meeting. Okay, I'm gonna go in executive. How do I get back in?
Is that you, Sue? Not deposit. We can't.
I left the meeting.
No me pongas.
We're going to executive session.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
Well, hands-
Ryan.
No lo oyes.
Ahí está, Ryan. There you are, Ryan. Okay.
You need to leave the meeting.
Leave the meeting. Where do I leave it? Where do I punch?
Are you on Zoom?
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Hold on. Home.
Okay, can you hear me? Hmm. Can you hear me?
Hello, Ms. Vale. I think you joined you joined back to the regular board meeting.
Oh, well, I
Mr.
hit the one Mr. Grijalva hit.
He just sent a new one. Okay. Do you need the meeting password?
Okay, is everybody back? I see David, I see Rod.
I'm missing Mr. G and Henry.
Yes.
Hello, Henry.
Yeah, I guess Mr. Grijalva and Mr. Trujillo are not on there, right?
Not yet.
There's Mr. Grijalva.
I'm here.
Mr. Trujillo should be in shortly.
I can't see myself either. I don't know. You guys can hear me though, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hmm. That had to be Henry. No? Nope. I don't see Henry. Cindy, how's your baby?
It's doing good, growing really fast.
Stay safe, be careful.
We're trying.
Good.
Thank you.
I don't see Henry.
I'm gonna call him and put in speaker because it's just to close out the
Yeah.
meeting.
I don't think get going because I'm
He's
not gonna.
joining.
Okay.
They're putting the password in right now. One second.
He's got 1 second because we could have already finished. No, not really.
And then been watching the boxing match.
Oh, God.
Hey, Jerry.
Yes, sir.
Have you and Ryan got with Henry and kind of showed him how to do it, make it easier for him?
Yeah, I think what we may want to do is have him use 2 computers, one for executive session and one for the regular session.
Yeah.
Because I don't think his son's helping him do this anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look at me. I had a hard time and it wasn't that I needed help. I don't know what was going on. Okay, let's call him because I'm getting ready to adjourn this. I will say that the board's back in session. There was no action taken in executive session. It's 8 p.m. Did we get a hold of Henry? No?
I'm calling.
I have him here, Mr. Grover.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Mr.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Trujillo, we just said there was no action taken in executive session. The next item on the agenda is adjournment. It is 8:01 p.m. I so move to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
Seconded by Mr. Chavez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Both motion carries. All we ask is of all you managers, keep your staff safe. Let's try to stay within our departments if need be and utilize the phones as much as possible. And please practice social distance. Thank you. Stay safe and good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.